We have asked you about how you see the law. We told you a story of an architect who hired workers for a project to assess whether you typically focus on reward systems more than the reward giver. We told you about a servant leader's effect on his followers and an orphan whose personal identity would not allow her to trust her adoption by the rich man. We asked questions that captured your current core assumptions about the nature of man and the possible connection to the spiritual or invisible. It seems you have indicated by your answers that you place a lot of confidence in the goodness of humans at their very nature. We shared with you in session 5 all the ways that people are flawed in the perceptions and judgments of what they believe and ultimately what they do. Remember? Either you have not considered how you and others are flawed, or you somehow have settled in your core beliefs that people are naturally good and will do the right thing regardless of their self-serving biases. It seems virtuous at times to want to believe people are basically good. Many bloggers advocate that our hope is connecting with others and the world around us. Yet, there's plenty of evidence in the study of human nature that people operate in self-centered ways. You just have to witness a room full of 2-year-old children to see their nature at work, don't you? This may be something you want to consider more as you shape your beliefs in the future. We have explored knowledge, truth, and faith, and how they affect your decision-making. And from your responses to these stories and questions, it seems that your core assumptions are what we would classify as an orientation toward your circumstances, especially the exchanges you make with the physical world around you. You appear to assume you can determine truth by thinking about what you and others observe. You seem focused more on what is practical than principled. So, you would likely place a priority on Edo knowledge over gnosis. It appears that reality for you is what you observe or objects that exist in the material world. From your answers, fairness and justice dominate your sense of virtue, so reward and punishment is important in your view. You seem to rely on what others may think or determine if you are doing okay or not. Let me say that again. You seem to rely on what others may think or determine if you are doing okay or not. If so, this means that you believe that being satisfied will come from how well your own efforts can meet your needs. Keeping things in balance matters to you. When you give, there may be some underlying expectation to receive. And when others do something for you, you likely feel obligated to them. You may not like feeling obligated, which means you may have trouble receiving. This may cause you to push others away. Many people battle the tension of wanting others in their life, but at the same time run from obligation or commitment. Getting circumstances to tilt in your favor probably matters to you. Circumstances can depend largely on what others do, but can also include acts of nature such as illness and tragedy. An exchange worldview links your emotions to what you perceive happens around and to you. This can involve both the physical world and even unexplainable events you may attribute to the invisible or supernatural world. You're typically happy and excited when things go well, and sad, frustrated, and angry, and so forth when things go against you. How you compare to and impact others can be a source of guilt, shame, or pride. You may see virtue primarily as morality or doing the right things. Do you remember our discussion in session 3 on power? Now, while you may prefer type 2 power or forms of justice over type 1 power and greed, you seem to expect communities to operate on people's rights or what they feel they deserve. Well, based on what you've told us about yourself, you believe that your needs are met by what you do. This is very much the way human nature works. You may see sometimes that you receive favor without doing anything for it, such as a beautiful sunshiny day. And you may reflect on times your parents gave you something and you felt you did nothing to deserve it. But based on your responses, you do not see these experiences as the way life normally works. Well, as we said earlier, your answers indicate an exchange-based orientation. Now, this can feed both your pride and your fear because you feel outcomes are up to you. It is important for you to note that your exchange-based core assumptions, your before worldview, influence how you think about your work, your career, and institutions such as government, family, business, and religion. It would be helpful as you study topics like these to consider that you could view them from more than one way. When you gain new insight and evidence for how the different core assumptions can help you and your community better prosper, you may begin to question your own core assumptions. For instance, throughout the ages, one controversial topic in how societies function is religion. Because culture has a huge effect on religion in a society, often communities have a fake or a counterfeit view of religion. For example, many Muslims and Jews feel their religions are misunderstood by others in society. So throughout the years, religious people have both exploited others and have been persecuted themselves. We suggest the best way to view religion is not as a cultural influence on society, but truly as a core assumption. For example, you can study Christianity by exploring the core assumptions of Jesus. This is what is referred to as the mind of Christ. You have also indicated by your answers that you do not prefer Christianity. We assume this means that either you feel you still have more to learn about Jesus' teachings, or that you understand Jesus' teachings and you do not agree with them. While it has not been the purpose of this course to study religion or theology, it has been our wish to help you better understand your own core assumptions, and in this context, to share with you Jesus' desire to give you every opportunity to live an abundant life. We hope that as you think back on this study, it will open new ways for you to consider how you think, feel, and act as you walk through life. Perhaps the most valuable thing we could ask you right now is, what is true north?